Neil, another busy week here at Yeovil. Big game coming up Saturday. How's the preparation been and what are you expecting from Yeovil?
No, preparation's been really positive actually. We were talking about it today. The way that the first sort of 10 days went, we had 2 training sessions with the group, a positive performance and an okay draw that we felt could have been 3 points against Solihull. And then realistically, it was just match day prep. So we were in on Monday practicing and prepping for Tuesday, and then in on Thursday prepping for Saturday. And ultimately, it was kind of trying to patch up what we had available and what we had ready to go in between those 2 games. So we're really looking forward to this opportunity this week to get a full week with the group. We had some really good sort of video analysis team meetings looking at areas that have gone well for us in the first 3 games and areas that we really need to improve on. And if you look at, we're not about identifying people or isolating people, but when you look at the goals from the weekend, so you look at Solihull being 1-1, Tamworth being a tight game that obviously we came out on the wrong end of 1-0. Saturday was almost like the exception to the rule, if you like. And then when you look at the goals, a couple of obviously individual stuff with Cookie that's completely against him. He's normally the most reliable performer we've got, so these things happen at times. And 2 penalties and then the third one coming off the post and hitting Luca and going in. Sort of the goals aren't patterns that are causing us issues, they're more individual mistakes. But we've now got to try and work really hard, as we have done this week, to ensure that the things that we're doing right we magnify and we make happen more often, and the things that are kind of the concentration levels and ensuring that we really firmly keep the back door shut and ensure that we don't give any simple goals away to opposition. Because I think confidence in our group, if we score first, I think we're starting games confidently for the first 35 minutes at the weekend, and we need to take that into this coming Saturday. But as I say, training's been really upbeat. So after the meeting at the start of the week, Monday the group trained really well. Tuesday, it was as good as training session we've had since we've been here in terms of the atmosphere around the group and how hard they trained and how hard they worked. And obviously looking forward to getting into the players today with the match day prep prior to Yeovil on Saturday.
In terms of Yeovil themselves, the first game we played them, it was 3-0, but obviously it's going to be a much different game now, new faces in, new style. What are you expecting them to bring up against us? Yeah,
look, I think Yeovil are obviously an established team and football club really that's been a English Football League club for the last X amount of years. And they're probably, at the start of the season, their expectation levels would have been to try and be in and around the playoffs and try and be pushing for promotion themselves. And they'll probably be looking to try and kickstart their season again. So we know that it's a tough task that awaits us, as every game in the National League is. However, we've obviously done our due diligence. We've poured over the games. I've been to watch them a couple of times live myself already this season in the last couple of months. So we've been able to sort of come up with a game plan that we think could cause them problems. Again, it's about us executing that game plan as best we can, and the group being kind of the best version of themselves that they can be, because I think if there's enough potential in the building that if we reach our standards individually and collectively as a team, that we can win games of football. And we are under no illusions that this is the start of like an intense 10-day period with 4 games in it that are probably going to have a huge bearing on what happens for us the rest of the season. And we've spoken very much so about understanding and appreciating the situation we're in now, which is, we're in the relegation zone, but it's a position we don't want this football club to be in. And everybody in the group wants to do their absolute best to move Wealdstone Football Club out of this relegation zone and ensure that we keep or retain our National League status. So that is something that needs to start as of Saturday, and we're really looking forward to the game on that basis.
I think you mentioned it there, obviously the position we're in. Is it in general just that belief we need to know that we can get out of that situation?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that things change quickly on the back of a result. And I think that we've already seen that in the pattern of the group. I've spoken about it before, but if you look at the pattern of the team this season and the results that the club's got, I think, like I said, the first 12 games didn't go to plan and only picked up eight points in that period. Then we had an upturn in fortunes where, coinciding in and around the FA Cup run, where confidence was high on the back of obviously beating Grimsby and some results either side of that, and a great performance against Wickham, who were pushing to get into the Championship. So we know that the potential's there within the group when everyone's fit, or we can get as many people fit as we possibly can, and get our best players playing at the best of their potential. But then there's been a drop-off after that, so we need to restart that. We need to get back into that winning streak, and then the confidence will breed from that. So no better place to start than a tough game away against Yeovil at the weekend, but one that if we get 3 points from, which we'll be going for, that we can kick that into the rest of the 10 days that we have coming up.
When last week's team came out, we saw that Sam Ashford and Jayden Munnell-Smith were out. In terms of the injury situation, how are they and how's the general situation?
Yeah, look, it's been a story of the season. Unfortunately, we've probably been hit as a group. Prior to us coming in, have been hit by a number of injuries and and a lot of changes in the team and the squad over the course of the season. Unfortunately, Ashy and Munns have kind of picked up their injuries on Thursday. Munns has been one that's kind of been monitoring and has been previous over the 6 to 8 weeks. He's been able to play in some games, and we've managed his game time as best as we possibly could. 3 games in a week was probably something that was unattainable for him to manage. We'll have to monitor him how he is this week, and we're also looking at lots of different options around him to try and get to the bottom of what the injury is, because he's been able to play with it at times, and other times he hasn't been able to play with it. So until we know the full extent of it, we'll probably need to hold off as to whether he'll be fit for Saturday. But Munns wants to play games of football, as does all the players at the football club. So I think we'll be without Ashy, and then time will tell on Munns. But obviously Cookie is missing through suspension, but we get Max back, so there's kind of 1 in, 1 out in terms of that. So numbers are where they are currently, and we'd like to do some work to try and bring a couple of people in as well if we can. But the players, the way they've trained and applied themselves this week, the players that are available for us at the weekend are really ready to go on Saturday, and that's what we're looking forward to.